It's the end of the year, and I am honestly not thinking, with how many things that I have to do, that I'm going to finish very many other books before the year's over. So I'm going to go ahead and do my top 10 of the year, starting with 10. This is Spice Road by Maiya Ibrahim. I had a wonderful time exploring this world. I'm also slightly biased because it's a fairy loot edition, so that means it's absolutely stunning in every way, shape, and form. I love this book so much, and the second one is due to come out next year, so I'm very excited. The premise is this is kind of based in a Middle Eastern society, and they live in a desert. The desert is like secluded off from the rest of the world because the rest of the world doesn't exist. The main character's brother goes missing, and it turns out he might be alive, so she's sent on a mission with a group of people she can't really trust to go and rescue her brother. So I don't have a copy of this book right now, but it is Silver in the Bone by Alexandra Bracken. So the Silver in the Bone is very much based off of the King Arthur-like idea. There's these characters, the two main characters are like a brother and sister, but they're adopted. And then they also are followers, so they're basically like Indiana Jones, kind of. They're digging up artifacts and breaking down spells and all kinds of cool stuff. There's a lot of magic involved. And it's definitely one of those stories where not everything is what it seems. Coming at number 8 is City of Nightmares by Rebecca Schaeffer. I had a great time with this book. It's very different. Basically, the entire city has a problem where when they go to sleep, they become a nightmare in their dream and wake up as another creature or being. Some people turn into vampires, giant pterodactyls, Godzilla's, giant man-eating spiders, etc. And our main character is very much a coward living in basically a New York City area where, there are nightmares galore and constant problems. I had a great time with this. I just got book 2, so I'm very excited to delve back into this world because I had such a great time with it. Number 7 is Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. I had such a great time listening to this. I listened to it on Audible, and I do plan on rereading it via the physical copy because, oh my god, is this stunning. It was just such a cute LGBT, very D&D inspired romance with a slow burn and, of course, coffee. You really can't go wrong with Legends and Lattes. Coming in at number 6 is Gilded and Cursed by Marissa Meyer. I'm including them together because it's a duology, so it's just the 2 books, and you don't have to, it's just 2. This is a Rumpelstiltskin retelling, and it was definitely one of those books where I did not know what was going to happen next. She's one of the few authors that can really throw me for a loop, so I had a great time with this. It is very dark. It's by far her darkest book series that she's released so far, and I absolutely loved it. I need more dark material by Marissa Meyer. Please, thank you, bye. This is Belladonna and Foxglove by Adalyn Grace. So this will be a trilogy. 3rd book is due to come out next year. However, this was such an interesting concept. Our main character, Signa, is basically impervious to death. She also has a relationship with the embodiment of death, and she's solving a murder in a high society like 1800s era. And it is definitely a very interesting tale, but it's definitely an acquired taste. So if it doesn't pique your interest now, I recommend skipping it. However, if it does pique your interest, this will definitely be on your top 10 for next year if you pick it up soon. Coming in at number 4 is Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. I was not expecting to like this book as much as I did, to be perfectly honest. You have two gods at war with each other in a World War I kind of era where the gods are making humans fight for them, and you have an enemies to lovers situation. They're coworkers that hate each other and then slowly fall in love through letters. I had a great time with this author. A lot of people don't like her as much. It's a very stylized style of writing, very lyrical in a way, which is not a term I often use for authors, but I think it really fits this particular author for this book a lot. I had a great time. It's a gorgeous copy. Fairy Loot always kills with their copies. So I was very ecstatic to read this. The second one is due to come out this month, called Ruthless Vows. And I'm hoping to get my hands on a Fairy Loot copy because I had a great time with this. This is another one that I do not currently have on my shelf, and it is Once Upon a Broken Heart series by Stephanie Garber. I was not expecting to like the series as much as I did. I did enjoy her first series. However, having a continuation / spin-off series involving one of my least favorite characters of the Caraval trilogy, I was a little apprehensive at first, but I wasn't expecting the depth that was involved, as well as to explore a whole new area in this world that she created with really fun and really memorable side characters. It's a trilogy. Do not pick up book 2 until you have book 3 in your hands. You're welcome. Okay, let's move on. Number 2 is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I'm starting to go back and re-listen to the entire series as well as read them again just to see what everyone else is talking about, because there's suddenly been so much controversy around this because some things came out about the author. However, do I still think it's a really fun YA high fantasy series? Abso-fucking-lutely. I had a great time with it personally. My first go around, my second go around is going to be more of a tearing apart kind of go around, so it may move down the list or maybe even not even be in the list at all for next year. However, for this year and my first time reading it, I did really like Fourth Wing and Iron Flame the sequel. So my number 1, because I reread it every year and it is my favorite book series of all time, is the Lunar Chronicles. Book 1 is Cinder, Book 2 is Scarlet, Book 3 is Cress, Book 4 is Winter. And I could not choose between all of them to be my favorite. However, it's probably a tie between Cinder and Winter. Also, Fairy Loot editions, so of course they are stunning with quotes, and of course they have prints of the characters inside of them. These are my 3 main favorite characters: Prince Kai, Cinder herself, and Aiko, who I definitely want to get a tattoo of and plan to very soon. This is a very interesting sci-fi fairy tale spin. So if you're not into sci-fi or you're not into fairy tales, you may not necessarily enjoy this particular series. However, if you are like me and that seems to be like your niche that very few authors get right, I highly recommend this series. Basically, the premise is, for the first book, you have Cinderella and her story, but of course there is a moon queen named Levana who's a bitch, and we all hate her, and we even got a backstory of her called Ferris, where she just proves that she is 100% a bitch. Love this series so much. Love every character, including the bitch Levana. Like, it's hard not to love a villain when, even though you kind of understand where they're coming from, they're still a villain, they're still bad, and you still love them for it. Those were my top 10 books of 2023. As always, I have a wonderful time making these, and if you want to see more, you are more than welcome to do so. I have an entire playlist down below of, at this point, I think we're over 100, if not more, of books that I've covered. And of course, I will be continuing to cover books that I read. So I hope you guys have a wonderful, happy new year, and Merry Chrysler.